easy go.
Hey everyone, this is Wrecker. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you guys another Division 2 build video. One thing I would like to mention before we get in is that this build is to gain a raw damage and survivability. This is not a crit chance or a skill build because I do prefer to be dependent on the weapons and the talents that I use instead of sitting in cover and let your skills do all the work. Alright, so let's get started. So this is the build, everyone. To give you a general stat, we are sitting at 301.7k armor and 139.3k health. We have 7 offensive, 11 defensive, and 1 utility. Now that one yellow that you see, that was not intended. It's only there because the chest piece that I'm running, it comes with a yellow mod slot, and I would recommend that you stack it with your best reload speed mod, but it's your choice. Okay, so let's get started. As for the guns, I am running a carbine 7, which is sitting at 23.4k damage. As for the talents, I'm running breadbasket, extra, and in rhythm. Now this bottom talent, it's personal preference or whatever you have on your gun. In rhythm works quite good when it comes to refreshing your skills, but you can root it, or you can use protected reload or any other talents that you may like. Now I do like optimist better than breadbasket, but then again it does have to be 5 or less to run optimist, but in this particular build we have 7, so I have to go with breadbasket. Now before I go to my secondary, which is a nemesis, I would like to add that you run this particular scope. It's a C79 scope, which not only gives you 5% damage to elites, but it also procs the plus 15% headshot damage from your nemesis. Now you can run any other scope, but this one is the way to go because it does gives you 5% damage to elites, and I believe it's the only one which gives you that. Now speaking about the secondary, the nemesis that I have is sitting at 478.9k damage, and the talent that I was talking about is this bottom one. It says preparation. While holstered, gain plus 15% headshot damage when scoped with your current weapon. Now going to the sidearm, I'm using a D50, again only for the bottom talent. I'm running rooted because it helps a lot when you're in cover and it buffs your healing. You can run any other talent that you like, it's a personal preference. Now jumping on to the gear pieces for the build, I am running a 511 mask. Now it could be any other one, it doesn't have to be a 511. Just make sure it has concussion and preferably a blue and a red. Now for mine, I'm running 12,906 health, and I have rolled 50% damage to elites on it. For the second piece, I am running a Alps Summit chest piece. I have rolled 15% weapon damage and I have 45,494 health on it. As for the talents, I am running Bloodsucker. Now I feel that it performs real well in PVE still. Since TU6, it used to run very well for the PVE, but after TU6 they nerfed it. I think the max stack you can go is 3 now for PvP. But for PvE it works real well, plus 25% bonus armor for 10 seconds, and it can stack up to 6. So that's why we need 11 or more to proc this. As for the mods, this chest piece comes with 2 defensive and 1 utility, which you can stack with your best ones that you got. I do recommend that you run it total armor and raw armor when it comes to defensive mods, which will give you the most quantity on armor. Speaking about the third piece, we are running and I roll the holster. I have rolled 43,644 health on it, and I'm running precise since I play on PC and do tend to land headshots quite often. Jumping on to the next piece, we are running a Killer God backpack. I have 1 blue, 2 reds, 18% total armor, and I have rolled 11.5% weapon damage on it. Now, one thing I like to add, this is the max that I have seen in the game so far, and the max that I have on a backpack when it comes to weapon damage. I have seen 9% dropping quite a lot in the game, but 11.5, that's a first for me. Anyhow, for the talents, I'm running hard hitting and efficient, especially when you cannot run hard hitting on your mask. It's important that you have it on your backpack. You can run it on any other piece as well, but then again, backpack is the best way to go for hard hitting, if not the mask. As for the mod slots, we have 1 red and 1 blue, which again you can stack with your best mods that you have. Jumping on to the next piece, we have a Fenris gloves. Now, one thing I like to add here is that you must run 1 Fenris gear piece in this build, because that's the only way you can gain a 10% assault rifle damage by default. Now, we have 1 red, 1 blue. I have rolled 12% assault rifle damage on it, and then we have 10,171 health on it already. Now, I am running devastating on my gloves. Now, this depends, what talents are you running on your holster. If you're running devastating on your holster, you can run precise on your gloves, and vice versa. That's the best recommendation I would do. As for the last piece, we are running Gilagad knee pads. Now this is the second piece we have from Gilagad in this build, which will give us the 20% hazard protection, which is good to have. At least 20% is good to have when it comes to PvE. You do not need any more than that. Trust me, I have tested it out in all heroic missions or even in the raid. You do not need any much more hazard protection. 20% works well. Now, to the attributes, I have rolled 11% total armor on it, and as for the talents, I'm running patience. Now again, I always love to run patience in any of the builds because it works quite well with either the Mender Seeker Mine and even with the Chem Launcher when it comes to healing yourself. Because on their own, those skills do not heal you that much, but combined with patience, it can greatly heal you up. As for the talent mod slots, we have 2 armor mods which you can stack with your best armor mod slots. As for the skills that I'm using, again, I'm using a Mender Seeker Mine. It comes with the specialization, and it does come with its own mods. 50% healing and 80% skill haste, which is great. As for the second one, it's a personal preference. You can use a defender drone if you like, or any other skill, but for me, I like to run a reviver hive, because especially if you're running it solo, or even if you're in the group, you can revive your teammates if they are far away and not closer to you. So that's basically it. Before I wrap it up, I will show you the stat page. All the talents and the weapons are active. As for the weapon damage for our carbine, we are sitting at 23.442 weapon damage, 70% headshot damage, 10% accuracy, 20% stability, 33% all weapon damage, and 46% assault rifle damage, which is great. As for the marksman rifle, it's at 19%, which you can stack easily through the specialization. When it comes to damage to elites, we are sitting at 80%. Now you can go higher than this by switching out a few of the mods on your gun especially, but for me 80% is quite enough, and it works real well. All the talents on the gear pieces are active, and again we are sitting at 301 722 armor, 139 270 health, 78 688 health regeneration, 20% protection from elites, which I believe 15% is from the specialization and 5% from the mask. The last thing is the hazard protection. Again, you do not need any more hazard protection than 20 or 30% when it comes to PvE. Whenever you get an encounter with any hazardous effects in PvE, it's only a few seconds and it goes away. So you do not need any more hazard protection than 20%. I have tested it. You do not need any more. Anyhow, this is basically the build, everyone. It performs real well. I have been using this since TU6, which I can confirm because you can see that in the gameplay that I have at the end of this video. So enjoy the gameplay. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.
Once you're inside, find a way to the atrium.
Radio intercepted. Hostile radio intercepted.
Whoever attacked us might be headed this way!
With all those gates sealed, the north exit should be closer.